Here's a most SEO-optimized 1-minute intro script for your YouTube video about Australia penny coins, starting exactly how you ask backhand index pointing down. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're exploring the amazing world of Australian penny coins, one of the most iconic and collectible coins in Australian history. At first glance, these old bronze pennies might look ordinary, but some of them are extremely rare and worth thousands of dollars in today's coin market. From the early King George VI and Queen Elizabeth II issues to the famous 1930 Australian penny, known as the holy grail of Australian coin collecting. Every penny has a story to tell. In this video, we'll uncover the history, design, and hidden details of these coins, explain how to identify valuable mint errors, and reveal which years could make you a fortune. So before you spend or sell that old Australian penny, make sure you watch this video, because it might just hold a treasure waiting to be discovered. Would you like me to make 10 SEO-optimized YouTube titles under 100 characters for this Australia penny video next? The 1952 Elizabeth Australia penny coin is one of those legendary treasures that captures the imagination of collectors all around the world. This small, round piece of bronze may appear ordinary at first glance, but it carries a story of history, rarity, and immense hidden value. Minted during the early years leading to the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, this coin represents a transition from an empire built on tradition to a modern Commonwealth nation. Its age, design, and minting errors found in some specimens have turned it into a collector's dream. If you hold one of these coins in your hand, you're not just holding metal. You're holding a piece of time that could rewrite your destiny overnight. The 1952 Australian penny was among the last of the George VI series before the young Queen Elizabeth II ascended the throne in 1953. That historical change makes this coin incredibly special. Many collectors believe that the 1952 penny serves as the last breath of an era, making it one of the most sentimental and sought-after coins from Australia's mid-20th century coinage. Because only a limited number were minted that year, and fewer survived in pristine condition, its rarity skyrockets its worth. Imagine a coin that was once used by a loaf of bread now valued in the thousands, or even millions, if it's in mint or proof condition. What gives the 1952 Elizabeth Australia penny its extraordinary worth is not just its age, but its condition and origin. Some of these coins were struck at the Perth Mint, while others came from the Melbourne Mint, each having slightly different characteristics that collectors obsess over. A coin in flawless condition with a glossy brown surface, sharp edges, and no signs where it can fetch unimaginable prices. In today's market, rare varieties of this penny, particularly those with minting errors like off-center strikes or double die marks, can command prices that most people wouldn't believe. That's why coin experts often say, check your change carefully. You might be holding a miracle. The emotional connection collectors have to this coin adds another layer to its magic. The year 1952 was a period of great change, not only for Australia but for the entire Commonwealth. It marked the end of one royal chapter and the beginning of another. People who collect these coins don't just see them as currency. They see them as artifacts carrying the spirit of history, monarchy, and legacy. When you hold this coin, it's as if you're touching the moment when a young queen began her journey, a story of endurance, duty, and grace. That sense of emotional and historical depth is what turns collectors into dreamers and dreamers into fortune seekers. Another remarkable fact about the 1952 Australian penny is how unpredictable its market value can be. Coins that appear almost identical to the naked eye might have vastly different prices based on tiny details only experts can detect, like the thickness of the rim, the alignment of the lettering, or the slight difference in metal tone. Some coins with a glossy chocolate brown finish are considered proof-like and can be auctioned for astonishing sums. In high-grade, uncirculated form, this penny becomes not just a collector's item, but a status symbol among elite numismatics, making it one of the most talked-about coins in the world of vintage currency. The penny's design itself carries immense charm. On one side, the iconic kangaroo leaps across the face of the coin, symbolizing Australia's boundless spirit and independence. On the other side, the portrait of King George VI stands firm, representing the end of British authority, before Queen Elizabeth II's portrait took its place the following year. This combination gives the coin dual historical value, a farewell to one monarch and a quiet introduction to another. That subtle transition of power adds depth and meaning, turning the 1952 penny into a symbol of continuity and change wrapped into a single artifact. Collectors often describe the 1952 Australian penny as a silent gold mine. There are stories of people who discovered old jars of coins in attics or inherited small collections from grandparents, only to realize that among the pile sat a 1952 penny worth a fortune. Some coins have been known to fetch prices so high that they rival luxury cars or even small houses. That's why experts always urge the public never to underestimate the power of an old coin, because the value of history can never be measured by face value alone. This coin proves that what once bought candy can now buy castles. What's most fascinating is how the legend of the 1952 penny continues to grow with each passing year. As time moves forward, fewer high-quality examples remain in circulation or even in existence. Natural wear, corrosion, and neglect have claimed many coins, making every preserved specimen increasingly precious. The law of rarity is simple. The fewer there are, the more valuable they become. That's why collectors and investors alike are on a constant hunt for this coin. It's not just a hobby. It's a golden opportunity disguised in bronze. If you ever come across a 1952 Elizabeth Australia penny, take a closer look. Examine it under good light. Notice the details, the shine, and the sharpness of its edges. A coin that seems ordinary could actually be the key to unimaginable wealth. Some have called it the $1 million penny, because in certain auctions, depending on grade and uniqueness, prices can soar beyond belief. It has the potential to change fortunes overnight, turning an average collector into an instant millionaire. That's not an exaggeration. It's the reality of how rare collectibles redefine value. In the end, the 1952 Elizabeth Australia penny stands as more than just money. It's a story, a symbol, and a dream molded into metal. It reminds us that fortune often hides in plain sight, waiting for the right eyes to recognize it. Whether kept as a family heirloom, sold at auction, or treasured in a display case, this coin carries with the legacy of a nation, the memory of a monarch, and the promise of prosperity. So if you have one, treasure it dearly, because within that tiny circle of bronze lies the power to change your life forever, one penny at a time. The 1941 Elizabeth Australia penny is one of those legendary treasures that has captured the imagination of collectors and dreamers across generations. At first glance, it might appear to be just another old coin, a small bronze circle from forgotten pocket history. But to those who understand its story, it represents far more. This coin carries a deep connection to Australia's wartime past, to the resilience of the nation, and to the legacy of the British monarchy. It's not just metal, it's memory, history, and hidden fortune all pressed into one. For those lucky enough to possess it, the 1941 Australian penny is a silent gold mine that could transform their destiny overnight. During the year 1941, the world was in turmoil. World War II raged across continents, and Australia, standing alongside its allies, was producing everything it could to support the war effort, including its coinage. Metal was scarce, resources were stretched, and mints operated under pressure. That's what makes the 1941 Australian penny so remarkable. Every coin struck during that year represents a piece of a nation's endurance under the strain of war. It was not just a tool of trade. It was a symbol of stability in uncertain times. Today, this background gives the 1941 penny a story richer than gold itself. What makes this coin so valuable and expensive is its combination of rarity and history. Although millions were produced, very few have survived in pristine condition. The wear of circulation, the passage of time, and the corrosion of elements have made high-grade examples incredibly scarce. But what truly elevates the 1941 penny into the realm of unimaginable worth are the special varieties and minting quirks that occurred during that year. Some coins were struck at different Australian mints, such as Melbourne, Perth, and each carries subtle differences in design and finish. These variations are what collectors spend lifetimes hunting for, and what can turn a humble penny into a millionaire's prize. The design of a 1941 penny captures the spirit of an era. On one side, you see the leaping kangaroo, bold and unstoppable, a symbol of Australia's strength and independence. On the other side rests a portrait of King George VI, whose calm dignity represented leadership, through one of history's darkest periods. This contrast, the energy of the kangaroo and the stoic strength of the king, makes the coin not just beautiful but meaningful. It's like holding a symbol of courage and continuity, minted at a time when the world needed hope more than ever. That emotional connection is what gives this coin a pulse of life even today. Collectors and experts often say that the true magic of the 1941 Australian penny lies in its details. A coin with sharp rim, deep luster, and crisp lettering can command prices that defy imagination. But add in a minting error, perhaps a double strike, a misaligned die, or a faint design, and its value can skyrocket into the millions. Imagine having a coin that was once used by a loaf of bread, now worth more than a luxury mansion. That's the incredible power of rarity and history colliding in one small piece of metal. Those who understand this never let such a coin go cheaply, because they know its true worth cannot be measured by numbers alone. The story of the 1941 penny is also a story of rediscovery. Many of these coins lie forgotten in old jars, boxes, and family collections. Some are tucked away in the corners of drawers, waiting for someone to recognize their hidden glory. There have been real stories of people finding one among their grandparents' belongings and realizing they were holding a life-changing treasure. These discoveries remind us that fortune often hides in the most unexpected places, and sometimes destiny sits quietly in the palm of your hand, shaped like a coin, stamped with history. The market for the 1941 Australian penny continues to amaze even seasoned collectors. Each year, as fewer of these coins remain in good condition, their value climbs higher. Auctions have seen jaw-dropping bids, and collectors around the world keep their eyes peeled for one more perfect specimen. Some pennies with unique toning or historical provenance have fetched unimaginable prices. The combination of rarity, historical weight, and visual charm gives this coin a timeless appeal that will never fade. As time passes, its scarcity increases, turning it from collectible to legend. Beyond its monetary value, the 1941 Australian penny holds emotional and cultural importance. It's a tangible link to a generation that faced unimaginable challenges and stood resilient through it all. Each coin carries a fingerprint of that era, a time when every resource mattered, every coin had meaning, and every person contributed to something greater. When you hold it, you can almost feel the spirit of perseverance and pride that defined Australia in those days. It's not just currency, it's courage cast in copper. If by chance you possess a 1941 Elizabeth Australia penny, handle it with care, because you may be holding more than a collectible, you may be holding a key to fortune. Examine its color, condition, and edges. If it's well preserved, or it carries any unique feature, its worth could be beyond imagination. Some of these coins are said to have reached million-dollar valuations in collector circles, making them life-changing discoveries for those who recognize their potential. This isn't fantasy. It's the reality of how a small coin can hold the weight of history and the promise of wealth. In the grand story of numismatics, the 1941 Australian penny shines as a masterpiece of heritage and hope. It represents endurance through adversity, the elegance of craftsmanship, and the unexpected value that time can bestow. To many, it's just an old coin, but to those who understand, it's a fortune waiting to be found, a piece of living history, and a reminder that greatness often hides in the smallest of things. So, if you have this coin, treasure it deeply, because in that tiny circle of bronze lies not only the memory of a nation, but perhaps the power to change your fortune forever.